1 second. Hey, good evening. Long time no see, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the tri-state areas of New Jersey, Connecticut, plus the 5 spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Rhymes with now or later. Your host with the most, misunderstood, lonely nomad, unstoppable, independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, Queens, New York native, who is also a New York Giants fan, New York Knicks fan, who are the champions. I'll discuss that in a sec. And, of course, New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. You are now rocking with me by listening, tuning in, streaming, and watching the 122nd episode of the Sports Edition show. Excellent, fun, vibrant talks podcast, live and direct from StreamYard, alongside with the comfort of my room where I do my podcast recordings. And of course, this is the platform to talk about what's going on in football news, basketball news, baseball news regarding the New York teams, such as the New York Giants, the New York Knicks, and of course, New York Mets as well. And yes, if you didn't know what was happening, I will discuss that in a sec. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel of the Sports Channel page of the excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Leave a like and a comment alongside with the episodes. And of course, I want to address something before I get into starting the show with the Quick Side Bleacher Bar segment. Now, in case anybody didn't know what was going on with me, I was going through a technical difficulty with my previous laptop due to a internet connection interference. And of course, the Spectrum username that I tried to type in, it said it was out of range. So unfortunately, I won't be able to create the episodes for streaming platforms for a while right now until I get myself a new laptop, and hopefully I'll be able to get me a new job. I've been kind of down in the dumps for the past couple of weeks. It's been over a year since I got laid off. That's what I've been going through. In case anybody didn't know what was going on with me, I've been going through some difficult challenges and stuff. And it's crazy. But I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can to hang in there, though, man. But it's not easy when you are laid off for a whole year. So that's pretty much what's going on with me. All right. We got a couple of things we got to discuss, including the New York Knicks, who, by the way, did an excellent job winning the championship, and they ended the 53-year drought. All right. Now, how did they do it? I'll discuss that in a sec. But first, I want to talk about the NFL draft. I've been a little far behind on what happened, and a little far behind on the Odell Beckham Jr. returning to the New York Giants. So, without further ado, let's see. without further ado, let's get into the quick side bleacher bar. All right, let's do it. Hang on 1 second here. All right. I'm gonna discuss the Spider-Man mask in a couple of minutes. Before I get off the air. So after I do the Mets stuff, I'll discuss that before I get off the air. All right. So a little recap of the NFL draft. Let's see what the Giants got during the draft. Shall we? Let's see. Hang on 1 second. Let me pull it up on my tablet. All right. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up on my tablet. Hold on. All right. A little recap of the NFL draft, including the New York Giants. So, according to the Sporting News article, here's what's happening here. It was another season loss for the New York Giants, who finished 4-13, missing the playoffs for the 8th time in 9 seasons. Last season, the Giants were able to get a new franchise quarterback in the first round, selecting Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. I think it's short for Mississippi. They also had the number 3 overall pick, which was used on Abdul Carter, who finished 5th in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting despite facing consequences for violating team policies. Let's see. This season, the Giants are building on last year's draft class. They address needs at linebacker, wide receiver, tackle, and corner in the first 2 days of the draft, and have 3 picks remaining on day 3 after a day 2 trade with Cleveland that ultimately landed them Notre Dame receiver Malachi Fields at pick number 74. In all, the Giants made 7 selections in the 2026 draft, with 4 of those picks helping on the defensive side of the ball. The Sporting News is tracking each of the Giants' 2026 NFL draft selections from the 1st through the 7th round. 2026 NFL Draft HQ live tracker, pick by pick grades. Yeah. And in case anybody didn't know, that's my air conditioner that's blowing right now. It's very muggy right now with this weather, so that's why I have it on. In case anybody didn't know, that's the air conditioner blowing. All right, so who did the Giants pick in the draft? So let's take a look here. So round one, pick number 5, Arvell Reese, linebacker, edge he is from Ohio State. Also in round 1, pick number 10, Francis Francis Maui Goa. OT Miami. Round 2, pick number 37, Colton Hood. CB, Tennessee. Let's see. Round 3, pick number 74 from the Browns, Malachi Fields, wide receiver, Notre Dame. Round 6, pick number 186, Bobby Jameson Travis, DT, Auburn. Let's see. Round 6, pick number 192, JC Davis, OT Illinois. Round 6, pick number 193, Jack Kelly, linebacker, BYU. All right. The hell is it? Hold on. You know what? All right. So the Giants NFL draft needs includes defensive line additions. The most glaring issue for the Giants in 2025 was their inability to prevent the run game, allowing opponents to average 145.3 rushing yards. Multiple additions may be in order for the Giants in this case, primarily in the form of defensive tackles. There's certainly a chance that the Giants will take a DT on both Thursday and Friday. Find a secondary star. Caleb Downs is a common mock draft pairing for the New York Giants, who are seeking a star player in their secondary. The Giants defense is in need of versatility, which aligns well with the athleticism that Downs can bring, especially to a team ranked 28th in the NFL last season in defensive yards. Give Dart another target. Oh, shit. The later rounds of the Giants 2026 draft are likely to include a receiver. Jackson Dart is still developing as a quarterback, but showed promise in his rookie season, finishing 4th in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. Having an additional target could help to gradually improve this Giants offense. So yeah, there you go right there. So far they picked Caleb Downs, Peter Woods, Kristen Miller, Keelan Rutledge, Dion Burks, Brent Austin, Lander Barton, Kendrick Law. So let's see. So WR, for those of you who may not know what WR stands for, it stands for wide receiver. And I believe, you know what? Let's look up these initials before I go on. Let me look up these initials. Let me see, because I want to make sure I'm correct here. Okay, what does DT stand for in football? Okay, defensive tackle. Okay, we got defensive tackle. Let's see. CB, that's cornerback. And you have, let me see. Yeah, linebacker. You have, what is this? What is this? G and C. G/C. Let's see. What is this? What is this? Guard and center. Okay. All right. All right. And S stands for safety. Okay. Wide receiver, linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver, guard, center, and defensive tackler, and of course safety. So there you go, right there. All right, so that's the recap of the New York Giants. Let's see. Let me see if there's anything. I did mention Odell Beckham Jr. I did mention him. So let me see if I can actually. Yeah, let's look him up real quick, actually, because he returned to the Giants not too long ago. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Odell Beckham Jr. New York Giants return. Okay. All right. Let me take a look here. Okay, why is Odell Beckham Jr. returning to the Giants? Okay, here's a breakdown on sporting news. So one of the most recognizable figures in the NFL over the last decade is making a return to roots of his stardom. Odell Beckham Jr., a three-time Pro Bowl wide receiver and 2014 Offensive Rookie of the Year with the New York Giants, is heading back to the franchise for the 2026 season, per Adam Schefter. 7 years following his trade from the Giants, Beckham is set to return to the Giants as a veteran weapon for Jackson Dart. Here's what to know about Beckham's return to New York after not playing in the NFL last season. For now, the details of Beckham's new Giants contract remains unclear. However, he's heavily expected to land a one-year deal at 33 years of age. 2 years removed from the last time he stepped onto the gridiron. Beckham worked out for the Giants earlier in the offseason, and at that time, no deal was struck. Now, after working out a second time for his former team on Monday, Beckham is officially making his return to the Giants as one of the team's more notable offensive depth options. Excuse me. All right. So why are the Giants signing Odell Beckham Jr., you ask? Both on the field and in the locker room, the Beckham signing has the potential to add some juice to the Giants' 2026 season. For a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 3 years after hiring John Harbaugh as head coach and adding 2 top 10 NFL draft selections, expectations are higher in New York for the fall coming up. And one area the Giants still had room for, in addition, was wide receiver. Damn. 3 years they haven't made the playoffs? Really? Really? I can't say the fans are surprised that the Giants haven't made it to the playoffs in 3 years. They're not surprised. I'm not surprised. So, it is what it is. Hopefully they'll get it together. All right, let's continue with this though. So with Malik Neighbors recovering from his torn ACL, Wan'Dale Robinson departing in free agency, and the recent news of one depth option, Gunnar. Let me try to Gunnar Olszewski, rupturing his Achilles, the most common injury in sports. New York had the potential to make an addition to its weapons for Dart. Monday's workouts of Beckham, Braxton, Berrios, and Moore were the latest signs that the team was willing to make an addition, and both Beckham and Berrios wound up with deals. Beckham isn't going to be anything more than a depth option for the Giants, but if he's in good shape still, he can fill that role well. As recently as 2023, Beckham posted 565 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Ravens, where he was also coached by Harbaugh. Off the field, Beckham can also be a veteran presence for a team loaded with young talent. Between Dart neighbors Cam Scatterboo, who's actually recovering from his injury, Abdul Carter, Sonny Styles, and more, the Giants have loaded up on potential young stars. And if there's someone who knows about being a young star in New York, it's Beckham, who now can be a mentor to neighbors. Between his connection to Harbaugh and the franchise, the Giants need for receiver depth. Beckham should fit well into the team's 2026 plans. He may not play a significant role on the field, but as one of the more exciting players in team history, he'll be welcomed back by fans with open arms. Odell Beckham Jr. stats with the Giants. Beckham was drafted by the Giants at number 12 overall in the 2014 NFL Draft, and he quickly emerged as one of the league's most electrifying talents after posting 3 straight seasons of at least 1,300 receiving yards to begin his career. Named a Pro Bowler in all 3 of those seasons. Injuries and some other off-the-field tension with the team resulted in Beckham's separation from the Giants. In 2019, he was traded to the Browns. All right, so let's take a look at the seasons he's been. So 2014, 12 games, 91 receptions, 1,305 yards, touchdowns, 12 yards, 14.3 yards and catch. 2015, 15 games, 96 receptions, record yards of 1,450, touchdowns, 13 yards and catch, 15.1. 2016, 101 receptions, 1,367 recorded yards. Touchdowns, 3, 12.1 yards and catches. In 2018, 12 games. He played 12 games, 77 receptions, 1,052 record yards, touchdowns, 6, 13.7 yards and catches. All right, last time Odell Beckham Jr. played in the NFL, Beckham has been out of the NFL spotlight since the 2024 season when he was a depth option for the Dolphins behind Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. He did not play in the 2025 season, but also never announced his retirement, leading to his 2026 comeback with New York. However, Beckham also hasn't been a Pro Bowl type receiver since 2019, his first year in Cleveland, when he posted 1,035 yards. Injuries led him to take on more of a backup role in the following years of his career, but he did so at a high level for the Rams in 2021 over 8 games. Beckham had 305 yards for Los Angeles, then had a touchdown catch in the Super Bowl. Due to a torn ACL suffered in that Super Bowl win, however, Beckham did not play the entire 2022 season. He returned with the Ravens in 2023, totaling 565 yards and 3 touchdowns over 14 games, then signed with the Dolphins in 2024. In Miami, Beckham dealt with more injuries and didn't play much of a role, totaling 55 yards in 9 games before his December release. Now, after sitting out the 2025 season, Beckham is making a return to the league by going back to the Giants. And he's 33 right now. He'll turn 34 during the upcoming season on November 5th of this year. All right, so that's a little bit of a quick summary of Odell Beckham Jr. Let's see. What else can we? Yes, I do want to talk about. The highlight of the NFL. No, excuse me. I want to talk about the Knicks championship. Let me just find that story. I know I had it. I do want to talk about it actually. As a matter of fact, I'll hold. Let me see. Do I have it in there? No, I'm gonna hold off on the NFL draft. No, excuse me. I'm gonna hold off on the NBA draft recap for another episode. So let's recap the Knicks championship, how they got there. Let me see if I can find that story. Let me see if I can find that story. This is not. Yeah. I will say this though, man. While I was watching the NBA Finals of the Knicks, who, by the way, actually took care of business by defeating the Atlanta Hawks. They defeated the 76ers. They defeated the Cavaliers. And of course, they defeated the Spurs in games 1 and 2, but lost game 3. Game 4, let me tell you something, man. Game 4 and game 5 were the highlights that made it possible. So this right here goes to this moment goes to not only Jalen Brunson. I'll get to him in a sec. The legend of OG Anunoby grew even larger. That took place on the 11th of Thursday. Thursday, yes, when 2 Big Apple boroughs declared official days to honor the Knicks star, whose unbelievable tip and clinched the team's miraculous comeback in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. When I was watching Game 4, I was a little nervous, man. I'm not gonna hold you. I was a little nervous, and if the ball didn't go in, they would have been screwed. But they hanged in there, man. They really hung in there, man. They really came together as a group. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So Staten Island officially named Wednesday OG Anunoby Day, and Manhattan followed on Thursday in a fitting tribute to the unassuming Big Apple stud who put the Knicks one step closer to the NBA championship with his last second heroics that culminated in a heart-pounding 106 excuse me 107 to 106 win against the San Antonio Spurs. I tell you what though, there's some players on the Spurs that were fucking dirty. Wemby is one of them. Castle is one of them. And Vassell is one of them. All right. Last night proves once again anything is possible. You are never out of it, especially the Knicks this year. Staten Island Borough President Vito Fasella said in a video posted to social media. And he said, in quote, "Here in Staten Island, we celebrated from St. George to Tottenville to everywhere in between. So as a result of June 10th of this year will forever be known as OG Anunoby Day," Fasella said, offering an invitation to the hometown team to receive a Staten Island Heroes welcome. Manhattan Borough President Brad Holman Segal also signed a proclamation for Thursday to be recognized as OG Anunoby Day, praising the quiet assassin for his exceptional defensive abilities and relentless work ethic. In my power as Manhattan Borough President, I have declared today OG Anunoby Appreciation Day in Manhattan. Was it a Holy Man? Holy Man Segal posted on X. Anunoby's efficient shooting, game-turning block shot, and clutch tip-in put the Knicks up 3-1 over the San Antonio Spurs in the best of 7 series and moving them just one win from their first NBA title since 1973. Oh, let me make one side note about Cat. When I was watching one of those games and he dunked on Wemby, that shit reminds me of the episode of the Chappelle Show when he was playing with the kid and I'm pretty sure y'all remember this game, NBA Street Ball, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so it's kind of like that though. It's kind of like that actually. So yeah. Yeah, man. So it's like it's kind of like the saying you got your ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? Oh man. So the Big Apple basked in the Knicks' surreal win Wednesday night, the largest comeback win in NBA Finals history, as thrilled fans flooded the streets and watch parties erupted in chants. Fans across continued the OG mania on Thursday, pitching tributes ranging from dedicating a city street in his honor to building a new statue on Liberty Island. The Knicks will head to San Antonio for they went to San Antonio, Texas for Game 5 to have the opportunity to capture the crown, and they did. So yeah, I want to actually do a recap of Game 5 though, man, and how they got there, man. let me tell you something, man. I got so much I want to say about this. So I just want to make sure that I don't really forget anything. Let me just make sure I don't forget. Let me make sure I don't forget. Let me see. Let me make sure I don't forget anything. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So there are 5 things to talk about here, man, in this recap. So the New York Knicks may have had the most incredible playoff run in NBA history. Let's see. Let me deny this shit. It was doom and gloom when they were down 2-1 in the first round, and then they won 13 straight games. The second longest playoff winning streak in NBA history. It came to an end in game 3 of the finals, but that was just a small bump on the road to the franchise's first championship since 1973. I wasn't born when that happened, but I was able to watch for my own eyes for the first time. Here are 5 numbers to know about the Knicks title run. So, number 1, best playoff run ever, 14.9. The Knicks outscored their opponents by 14.9 points per game. The best point differential in NBA playoff history. Largest average point differential NBA playoff history. Woo! So, New York this year, 16 wins. Wow. 16 wins, and they had 3 losses. The PPG, what the heck? Wait, hold on. PPG. All right, let me look this up real quick. PPG, let me look this up. Let me look this up real quick. Okay. PPG stand for in the NBA. NBA basketball. Let's see. So, points per game. Okay, got it. So, points per game, they scored an average of 115.8. And yeah. And then they scored 100.9 OPP points per game. Differential, yes, plus 14.9. You know, it's crazy. They actually did better than Milwaukee, Golden State, LA Lakers, and Chicago. All right, so the 2 losses to the Atlanta Hawks in the first round each came by a single point. And their game loss in the finals came by just 4. So the Knicks joined the 1991 and 1998 Chicago Bulls as the only team since the playoffs expanded to 16 teams in 1984. 43 years. I was born after 84, so I couldn't even see. Yeah, 43 years. Yeah, to win a championship without losing a single game by at least 5 points. And while every game in the finals was within 2 points in the final 2 minutes, the Knicks still had 12 wins by double digits, tied for the most in NBA playoff history. 5 of those wins, including each of their first 3 close-out games, came by at least 29 points. Of course, Cat, aka Karl Anthony Towns, 578 playoff minutes, The Knicks outscored their opponents by 258 points. That's the best plus minus in a single postseason for any player in the 30-year of play-by-play data, topping Stephen Curry's mark of plus 245 in 2016 to 17. Number 2, the Kings made the comeback. The Kings of the comeback. The Knicks were 6-2 in the playoff games. They trailed by double digits. That's the best such playoff record for any team in the 30 years of play-by-play data. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, they came back from 22 points down to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were previously 40-1 in games they led by at least 15. In the finals, the Knicks amazingly trailed all 5 games by double digits, losing the 5 first quarters by a total of 57 points. But they came back every time, and their 29-point deficit in Game 4 was tied for the second biggest deficit overcome to win a playoff game in the 30 years of play-by-play data. It was the largest overcome in the finals over that time. In the regular season, the Knicks were more front runners than masters of the comeback. They were 46-6 third best when leading by double digits, but just 14-26 10th best in games they trailed by double digits. The largest regular season deficit they overcame to win was 21 points, and they topped that twice in the playoffs. Number 3, Anunoby was on a heater. OG Anunoby had an effective field goal percentage of 67.2%, the highest mark for a player with at least 150 goal attempts in NBA playoff history. That was a huge jump from Anunoby's effective field goal percentage of 58.1% in the regular season. There was some improvement in the paint, where he had the biggest bucket in Knicks history. And he was 10-4-17. That's 59% from mid-range, but it was mostly about his three-point shooting. Anunoby was 44 for 90. That's 49% from beyond the arc. The 4th best mark for a player with 75 attempts in a single postseason in the 47 years of the three-point line, 368 instances. That included 16 for 27, 59% from the left corner. That 67.2% is number 1 of 1,441 instances where a player took at least 150 shots in a single postseason. But Anunoby wasn't alone. Towns, 62.0%, up from 55.6% in the regular season. And Mikal Bridges, who said, "Fuck them picks." I agree. Oh shit, 62.0%, up from 57.1% in the regular season, are 18th and 19th on the list. Number 4, every champion needs a little luck. Knicks opponents shot just 123 for 355, 34.6% on wide open three-pointers, the 5th lowest playoff mark among the 51 teams whose opponents attempted at least 200 wide open threes in the 13 seasons of tracking data. Yeah, the Spurs shot 47 for 117. That's 40.1% on wide open threes in the finals. But over the previous 2 rounds, the Philadelphia 76ers, 14 for 55, 25.5%. And Cleveland Cavaliers 24 for 74, 32.4% combined to shoot, 29.5% on wide open threes against the Knicks. The Knicks also benefited from not having to play the Boston Celtics, top 5 on both ends of the floor, or the Detroit Pistons outscored them by 28 points per game over their 3 regular season meetings on their road to the finals. Some fortunate bounces both on their own shots and their opponents. Their opponents shooting just 4 for 19, which is 21%, on clutch 3-pointers, and just 10 for 21, 48% on clutch free throws, as they went 6 and 3 in games that were within 5 points in the last 5 minutes. A brutal turnover and foul from Victor Wembanyama in game 2 of the finals, and a brutal decision from De'Aaron Fox in game 4. Call it luck or call it magic. It's an ingredient in every championship recipe. And number 5, living late in the clock. Whew. Over the course of the playoffs, the Knicks scored 345 points on shots from the field in the last 6 seconds of the shot clock. I was watching it. I was watching the game. I did watch it. So, their opponent scored 166. So when it came to late clock scoring, the Knicks more than doubled up their opponents. They also drew 17 more fouls, 49 and 32, than their opponents in the last 6 seconds of the clock. Part of that is just the Knicks playing much slower than their opponents. Their 16.1 seconds per possession was the highest. It was the highest average in the playoffs, while their opponent's rate, 14.3 seconds per possession, was the lowest opponent mark. But while no team wants to play late in the clock so often, it's beneficial to be comfortable with the clock winding down. In the playoffs, opponents are more likely to take away your primary actions, so you need to be able to make something out of nothing with little time to work with. And no player may be more comfortable doing just that than Jalen Brunson, who scored 45 points, by the way. Yeah, who led these playoffs with 100 buckets in the last 6 seconds of the shot clock. But while the primary creator, he got help when it comes to making late clock shots. Over the last 2 years, regular season and playoffs combined, there have been 46 players with at least 300 field goal attempts in the last 6 seconds of the shot clock. Among those 46 players, Brunson 51.6%, Bridges 51.3%, Anunoby 50.2%, Towns 50.0%, and Josh Hart 47.7%, ranked second, third, fourth, fifth, and ninth in the late clock effective field goal percentage. Listen, man, I'm gonna actually, so as I said before, man, I'm gonna go over this actually. So these are 5 things, man. Yes. So, let's go over Jalen Brunson for a sec. 4 takeaways Jalen Brunson delivers in the fourth to carry the Knicks to the NBA championship. So, so the Knicks become the first team to win an NBA double behind Jalen Brunson's 45-point outburst and yet another comeback victory. Of course, in an NBA Finals full of close contests, the New York Knicks knew how to finish games better than the San Antonio Spurs. The Knicks collective experience wore down the Spurs in crunch time once again. They overcame double digits deficits early and late, survived foul play performances from Carl Anthony Towns, aka Cat, and OG Anunoby, and relied on star Jalen Brunson to save the day Saturday. The New York Knicks are champions for the first time since 1973, clinching that elusive title with a 94-90 victory in Game 5. For the 8th consecutive season, the NBA has a new champion. On a night when the Knicks struggled to score, they did what they had done throughout the regular season and playoffs. They kept playing, they defended, and Brunson carried the offense, scoring 29 points in the second half, including 15 in the fourth quarter, to lead New York to a series-clinching road victory. The Knicks were 16-3 in the playoffs and won 15 of the final 16 postseason games, including 9 consecutive road games. In quote, "We weren't ready to win an NBA championship. The better team won," says Spurs coach Mitch Johnson. "We did a lot of good things and we didn't finish the job." That's what it is. Number one, Brunson saved the day. Brunson, the Finals MVP, who was being a little modest to Ryan Christopher, saying that he's not the king of New York. But listen, let me just say this though, man. It wasn't just him alone, man. It wasn't just him alone. It was the whole team. So there is. I would consider the New York Knicks to be kings of New York, man. For one, because actually a couple reasons. For one, they played with confidence. They played with resilience and the determination to actually, take care of business with the Spurs. 5 is my favorite number because the Knicks won the championship. They actually completed their fucking mission. And let me tell you something, man. I want to actually say something before I continue this. As I was watching the game, yes, I was watching the game in my room. I do have Spectrum for you fucking idiots who say I was fucking spoiling the game. No, I was not, because I am from Queens, New York, and I say that in every intro. To say that I'm a spoiler is you're a fucking idiot. You guys weren't the only ones that was watching the game. I was watching the game too. And I was the one that heard the fireworks after they won. And I was a scorekeeper. Keeping track of the score for the guys. It was for the guys of New York Got Game podcast. Shout outs to the guys. Dexter Henry, I hope he feels better from his Achilles injury. I hope he feels better. And of course, Brian Fonseca. Yeah, and during the live chat, I was actually telling them that I was going through a rough time when I was going through a layoff situation, and I was actually telling them that this win in Game 5 really cheered me up, and this really helped me. This win really helped me. You know what I'm saying? It really helped me a lot, and of course, I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can to keep my head up, but it's just been hard since I haven't had a job for a year. So yeah, there you go, right there, though, man. Of course, man. Let me make sure I plug in their. I'll plug in their YouTube channel. Their YouTube channel is the New York Post Sports YouTube channel. You can also check out the episodes of New York Got Game. I believe Dexter Henry and Brian Fonseca was covering. They probably did an episode in regards to the NBA draft. So yeah, I can go check that out as well. Shouts to, like I said, shouts to Dexter Henry and Brian Fonseca. When they had that watch party, I was able to watch. And you know, sports entertainment, and of course music, alongside with TV, alongside with movies and gaming. All these things, um, including entertainment, brings people together. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So there you go, right there, man. There you go, right there. Um, yeah, yeah. Just a little moment that I wanted to actually do a little recap, a little something, man, to actually, remember course number 5. Listen, even though I didn't go to the parade for the New York Knicks, I did get a chance to watch it on YouTube, and it's crazy because I didn't even know it was going to be more than 2 million people. But then it's like more than 2 million people. It's like between 2 million people to 5 million people. Because I believe there was some celebrities that was there too. Timothy Chalamet was there. Of course, Fat Joe was there, alongside with a former NBA player who was also there too. Um, I forget his name, Clyde, I believe, right? Um, yeah, and of course, who else was there? Spike Lee. Spike Lee was there. I believe. Who else was there? Of course, I did hear. That that Remy Ma, alongside with others. Who, by the way, she's in the remix of Max B and French Montana. Um, they made a New York Knicks remix to Ever Since You Left Me, something like that. Yeah, I seen the video last night on Video Music Box, actually. So y'all can look that up on YouTube as well. And yeah, and it's crazy, because it's crazy. For those of you who may not know where the parade took place, it took place by Battery Park. I believe it's by Bowling Green, and it went on the parade route of the Canyon of Heroes by Broadway, which is Champion Way, and they went to City Hall. And while every player was receiving the keys to the city, there was a performance by Alicia Keys. That was a good moment. That was a good moment. That was a good vibe. It was a lot of fun for me to watch, even though I didn't have any Knicks merch, Knicks jerseys, or anything like that. I did manage to actually watch it on YouTube. So, for those of you who recorded the parade onto the YouTube channel pages and stuff like that, thank you for doing your part, and your hard work is appreciated. Yeah. So there you go, right there. There you go, right there. And all right, so let's continue. So Brunson, he is him. When it comes to the New York basketball, said Knicks coach Mike Brown, points were difficult to find all game. The Knicks had 15 points in the opening 16 minutes, but Brunson kept the game close with 16 first half points. It was the fourth quarter, though, when he took matters into his own hands. The Knicks trailed 83-73 with less than 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Brunson scored the game's next 10 points, and it was 83-83 with 4:48 to play. His 12-foot jumper with 105 to play gave the Knicks a 90-88 lead. Brunson was 14 for 27 from the field, including 4 for 7 on 3-pointers and 13 for 16 on free throws. Who? Yeah. So here's a quote. I know how much he works, how good of a person he is, how good of a basketball player he is, said Knicks forward Mikal Bridges, who won an NCAA championship with Brunson and Josh Hart at Villanova in 2016. I'm just grateful to be on his side again. That's really how I put it. Number 2, Harper stars alongside Wembanyama. Spurs rookie Dylan Harper scored a team high 25 points on 10 for 19 shooting and had 5 rebounds and 4 assists. The backup guard, who likely will move into the starting lineup next season, gave the Spurs a boost with a 3-pointer and 2 paint buckets shortly after entering the game in the first quarter. Harper in the first rookie to record multiple finals games with at least 20 points since Richard Dumas did it for the Phoenix Suns in 1993, and only 10 rookies have accomplished that, according to the Spurs public relations staff. Wembanyama had 19 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 blocks, and had already absorbed lessons from a painful loss in the finals. I'm not gonna read his quotes, man. Because he played dirty, man. He tried to do mind tricks on the Knicks players, man. But that wasn't gonna happen. That wasn't gonna cut it. All right, so number 3, Hart Bridges pick up Towns Anunoby. Towns played just 23 minutes because of foul trouble. He fouled out with 1 minute and 53 seconds left in the fourth quarter with 2 points on 1-for-7 shooting, 10 rebounds, 3 steals, and 5 turnovers. Anunoby, the game 4 hero, after his winning tip-in, had 5 fouls and finished with 11 points on 3-for-11 shooting, 8 rebounds, and 3 steals. After Brunson, the Knicks were 17 for 60 from the field, but Mikal Bridges, 14 points, and Josh Hart, 13 points, provided enough secondary offense to help the Knicks. Hart also collected 8 rebounds, and the Knicks made play after play in the fourth quarter. Mitchell Robinson, offensive rebound off a missed free throw by Hart, was one of Robinson's 10 rebounds, and Landry Shamit's 5 points in the fourth were small but important contributions. I'm going to do a Mitchell Robinson topic in the next episode. So, and the reason why he's not going to get brought back by the New York Knicks and James Dolan, that's going to be saved for another episode. Yeah. Yeah, Mitch Rob. Yeah, hold on. Hart also collected 8 rebounds, and the Knicks made play after play in the fourth quarter. A Mitch Robinson offensive rebound off a missed free throw by Hart was one of Robinson's 10 rebounds, and Landry Shamet's 5 points in the fourth were small but important contributions. Number 4, Knicks complete NBA's first championship double. On December 16th, the Knicks beat the Spurs 124-113 to win the Emirates NBA Cup 2025. 6 months later, the Knicks beat the Spurs to win the championship. The Knicks are the first team to win both the NBA Cup and the NBA Championship, either in the same season or overall. New York trailed the Spurs by double digits in the NBA Cup and came back to win. We're going to find a way. We're going to fight. We're not going to quit. We're going to go out there and do what we got to do, Brunson said then. Throughout the playoffs, the Knicks showcased that resilience repeatedly, including multiple times during the finals. To have the fans that we have in New York City, Brown said, and be able to bring home a championship after all these years is absolutely amazing. And yes, of course, man. Every Knicks fan celebrated, you know what I mean? Yeah, they celebrated though, man. And before I make some noise on the Knicks winning the championship, something that Dan Bowen said during the live recording of the parade on Fox 5. He said something that really hit me. He said that this moment wasn't just about a trophy. This was about bringing New Yorkers and the Knicks fan base. It was about bringing New York City and the New York Knicks fan base in unification. Yeah, you want to bring people together, unification. Like I said about the things that brings people together. Sports, you have music, you have entertainment, you have, of course, TV, you got movies, you got gaming, even podcasts, man. Oh, let me just say one thing about that though. By the way, in case you guys didn't know, Jalen, Josh Hart, they have the Roommates Show podcast. To all the Knicks fans out there, y'all can check out that podcast on every streaming platform. I will be checking it out. I know you will too. All right. So there you go. Right there, man. I want to make some noise, man, for the Knicks because they managed to get rid of that 53-year drought. That fucking drought is over. It is over. Tears of joy and the excitement, the moment that New Yorkers were waiting for, man. And I seen a lot of New York Knicks fans that were basically stuck by a subway station, I believe is 34th Street. One of the exits, I believe, they were blocked by cops and stuff, and of course, those who couldn't get a good view. I'm sorry, that security and everything else was tight, but overall, man, the moral of the story is, man, when you bring people together like the New York Knicks did, especially with the championship, it And like I said, from what Dan Bowen said from Fox 5 said, this is more than just a trophy. This is a moment for New Yorkers to cherish, a moment to remember, especially the games that they watch. And I believe Ben Still is going to make a documentary out of this. He's going to make a documentary movie out of this. and best believe, I will be checking it out. Yeah. So let's make some noise and congratulate the New York Knicks 2026 champions for winning the NBA Finals and completing their mission by defeating the San Antonio Spurs and, of course, getting rid of that 53-year drought and bringing it to the people in New York City, the 5 boroughs, even Knicks fans from Long Island, even Knicks fans from Jersey, Connecticut, the tri-state area, you just name it. Let's make some noise for the champions, the New York Knicks. And of course, there's a song out there. I'm not gonna sing the chorus, but you guys know the lyric. We are the champions. I'm not gonna sing the rest, man. Y'all know what it is, man. All right, let's make some noise, man. Yes. All right. Let's get into some Mets news, man. Let's get into some Mets news, actually. Yeah, the Mets did win yesterday's game, 6-2, by taking a win from the Phillies. At least they didn't get swept today, even though they lost today. Even though they lost today 5-4, and they left runners on base and stuff, but yeah. So let's see. So Tyrone Taylor made his return today in today's game, as I saw earlier. And this is from he made his return. For those of you who may not know what happened to him, him and Francisco Lindor had a rehab assignment that drew most of the attention in Binghamton that took place recently. On Friday, Tyrone Taylor quietly delivered a reminder of his value to the Mets. It was Taylor who provided a big lift, going 2 for 3, singling in his first at bat while ending his night with a solo home run. Following the performance, Taylor stated that he felt good to be out there, being healthy and a bit able to rehab. Taylor was yet another player to hit the injured list that took place on May 25th after experiencing discomfort going on the shelf with a right hip flexor strain. Right hip flexor. Okay, so and following the rehab outings, Taylor spoke with the media, stating that he wants to make sure he is fully healthy before returning to the Mets so that he can be productive for them. The 32-year-old veteran rehabbing for AA isn't just helping himself return to full health. It's also playing an impact on the return time of Lindor, which we saw in yesterday's game. He played 2 games though, man. He played 2 games actually, and he wasn't available in today's game. I was happy that Tyrone was able to get the barrel to the baseball, said Lindor following the game. To have Tyrone here helps, and to be around the rest of the guys was cool. See. Yeah, so for now, the Mets have yet to really state when they expect. He made his return, like I said, man. He made his return. He made his return, though, man. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, for now, the Mets have yet to really state when they expect. Yeah, he returned. I don't need to do that. The impact Tyrone Taylor brings to the Mets, believe it or not, Taylor delivered the clutchest moment this season down to their final out in the series finale against the Yankees, which took place May 17th. The Mets backup outfielder stepped into the box, many doubting he delivered. On the first pitch thrown by Yankees reliever David Bednar, Taylor sent a curveball 404 feet to left field, tying the game 6-6. In 43 games this season, Taylor struggled offensively, batting just 186 with 3 home runs and 14 RBIs, along with a 530 OPS and 210 OBP. However, his return is a positive in several ways. The Mets have their hands full when it comes to their starting outfielders with A.J. Ewing, a.k.a. The Flash, and Carson Benge, who are now nicknamed the Psychopaths. Oh, shit. Yeah, serving as future cornerstones, followed by Juan Soto. But Taylor slots in as the perfect fourth outfielder option, providing speed and above average defense, allowing the starters to have rest days without a worry. Taylor's return also allows MJ Melendez to be made expandable, which, by the way, he got sent to Syracuse alongside with Zach Thornton. Through 50 games, the former Royal is batting 193 with 4 home runs and 11 RBIs, striking out 46 times with a 315 OBP. Melendez has completely lost his rhythm, batting 159 over his last 20 games, being an easy option to move on from, with Taylor returning to the major league roster in the near future. Another option would be Eric Wagaman, who is now staying with the Mets right now. He played first base, actually, earlier when I was watching the game. Though he served as a fill-in depth piece that's so far worked out, delivering 3 hits through 9 at-bats with a home run, a pinch hit home run that he delivered. For Lindor, his spot comes very easy with Zach Short, who was holding down a bench spot while the Mets patiently wait for their star to return. Zach Short was also sent to Syracuse as well. The Mets are close to full health, still patiently waiting for Jorge Polanco. You can't really rely on Jorge Polanco, man. The guy is injury prone, man. I'm going to do a separate episode in regards to Moneyball Stearns, who really fucked up during the off season. And Luis Robert Jr., don't count on that shit, man. Even though he's playing catch, that doesn't mean he's gonna return anytime soon. And by the way, AJ Ewing took over center field. He took over his job. But you can't get rid of AJ Ewing at center field. You can't. If you do that, that's fucking malpractice. All right? There you go. Ronnie Mauricio also made his return as well. he had a double while he was batting right-handed recently. And yeah. So that's pretty much what that is, actually. Okay, and let me see what else do we have going on in Mets land. What else we got going on in Mets land? Oh wait, more information about Jorge Polanco. More information about Jorge Polanco. I'm probably going to save that for, I don't know. I'm probably going to save that for another time. I might not have time to actually talk about that. Let me see if I have that in the episode description. Let me take a look here. Nope. But I'll save that for another time. I want to actually get into Carson Benge. He recently was struggling a bit though. But I want to take a look at his stats so far, actually. How he's been doing. Even though he made a couple of errors and stuff like that, but you know, listen. This Mets team, let me tell you something, man. I've been a Mets fan for years. And I know not a lot of people want to use the word imperfect. Well, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna fucking use it because this is an imperfect team. They're not perfect. Obviously, you're not going to be able to win every fucking game. Obviously. And and let me just say this though, man. To those, I'm not gonna mention any names to content creators. I'm not gonna mention any names though. But those who actually feel like baseball is boring and all. If you think baseball is boring, why do you even watch? And why do you even watch the games in the first place? Look, you're not going to actually, because I hate when some of the people, some of the Mets fans come up with unrealistic expectations. All right. Unrealistic expectations, which I will save for another time. In regards to Francisco Lindor, I might not have time to talk about it in this episode, but I will actually save that for another time. But I do want to get into Carson Benge, how he's been doing, and according to the numbers, okay. According to the numbers and stuff. So let me just I want to take a look actually. So yeah, there you go right there. All right, so let's take a look at the stats for the 2026 regular season of Carson Benge. So far, his at-bats is 303, batting average 257, 9 home runs, RBIs 32, stolen bases 11, and 711 OPS. So there you go, right there. And let's see, 7 games, 7 game splits, 7 games, 31 at bats, 2 runs, 8 hits, no homers, 3 RBIs, 3 walks. Batting average is okay, 258, 324 OPS. Wait, hold on. And wait a second. 65, blah blah. But he I think he raised the OPS already. He raised the OPS already. He raised it. Let me see. Nah, he raised it though. Let me see the career stats. So he okay, so you have 303 303. Anyway, 303, 44 runs, 78 hits, 119. Wait. He got 9 home runs, a double, 10 doubles, and 2 triples. Oh boy. 23 walks, 71, 711 OPS. Do not count out Carson Benge, man. Do not count this guy out, man. Sure, he had some frustrations as far as anything, because you gotta understand something though, man. There are some relievers and starting pitchers, and of course the one that's close out the games. Some of them are very tough though, man. Some of them are tough though, especially what happened in today's game when Kyle Schwarber hit that home run, and Kodai Senga couldn't even get this guy out, which is fucking crazy. And I doubt if the Mets were to trade Kodai Senga, I don't know if they're gonna get anything at. I don't think they're gonna get anything back as far as value. And I did hear some chatter from some of the Mets fans in regards to a possible trade in regards to Clay Holmes. But I will save the Clay Holmes topic for another time, actually. I might not have the chance to talk about it here, but I do want to get into a particular segment, actually, because I feel like this is important, because I want to actually do like a rundown. But this one is a little different. This one's a little different from Laura Styles. This is basically I'm gonna do a little bit. Listen, man. Listen. Before I get into the segment, Carson Benge is he's been putting in the work though, man. Even though he has some miscues, misplays, whatever. But him and AJ Ewing never let anything get them down, though, man. And that's why they show confidence. They show resilience. And you know what I mean? You know, AJ Ewing, a.k.a. The Flash, who hit that home run alongside with Carson Benge, they're fun to watch in the outfield. So don't count them out, man. AJ Ewing is way better. He's a way better player at center field than Luis Robert Jr. And I don't think the Mets are going to take his deal next year. I hope this stupid ass lockout is not too long though, man, because that would be fucking ridiculous right there. All right. let's get into. Hold on. Let's get into the sports podcast of the week. This is where I actually give y'all some recommendations on where you can actually listen to the episodes of other people's podcasts. So I want to actually let's look into it right here. Let's look into it right here, and I'll gladly go over it with you and some others. So hang on 1 second here, man, as I get this set up right here. Yes, sports podcast of the week. All right. Let's get into it, man. All right, so sports podcast recommendations. Okay. We got the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast. You got the Sports Shots podcast, the Baseball Aficionado podcast, Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast, Baseball Today, the Portal Daily College Recruiting and NIL podcast. Mets in the UK, you got Locked On NFL Draft Daily podcast, where they base that on the NFL. Of course, New York Got Game, a New York basketball podcast by Dexter Henry and Brian Fonseca. Shout outs to them at the Shout outs to them at the New York Post Sports. Make sure you subscribe to that channel right there, so you get more ideas on what's going on with the NBA draft. And of course, shouts to also you can check out Dexter Henry also and Straight Outta Flushing Mets podcast, who, by the way, congratulations to one of my favorite content creators on YouTube, Wardy man, being the co-host of that Mets podcast, man. The way he speaks his mind, the way he actually explains the analysis, the numbers, all that stuff, man. So, of course, subscribe to his YouTube channel page where you can get some details on some Mets news, some rumors, breaking news. Of course, the post game shows. Of course, if you want to listen to the post game show music wins, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button over there. And, of course, be sure to actually tune in to his post-game shows. So now you got Believe in Mets podcast with Chris Schubert and Jack McKessie. You have Giants Nation show, the Giants podcast. You have 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with Carmela Anthony, Talking Baseball MLB podcast. You got From the Borough podcast. You got the Giants Insider podcast, Locked On NBA Big Board NBA Draft podcast, First Take, the Black Baseball Mixtape, the Just Baseball Show, Baseball Tonight with Buster Olney. You have Post Moves with Candace Parker and Aaliyah Boston, Mets Daily, taking over. Shouts to John Saponara, man, from Till Mets Do Us Part podcast. He took over for Jake Brown, who's no longer there anymore. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to learn more about Jake Brown and his food reviews and his analysis on what he thinks about the Knicks and all that great stuff, you can also subscribe to Jake Brown Live on his YouTube channels, share the video, like, and all that good stuff. All right. And you got Fun Around and Find Out podcast, in case you missed it, with Christina Williams, Dropping Diamonds with DJ Diamonds, Good Game with Sarah Spain podcast. You got Welcome to the Party Party with Tisha Allen podcast, of course. You got first time caller, long time listener with Laura Albanese. Make sure you subscribe to that channel. First Picture Fantasy Baseball podcast. You got Just Mets over there. You got Just Mets over there with Andrew and Rich. By the way, you can also tune into Knicks Film School alongside with Knicks After School and along with others. And you can also listen to the Orange Zone podcast with Samantha and Ashley. And of course, let's see. What else? There is let me see. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. Though, man. All right, so you got JM Baseball. You got Locked on Big 12 podcast. You got Big Blue Banter, Dudes on Dudes podcast. Oh shit. The Big Podcast with Shaq. Funky Friday. Yeah, another funny podcast you can tune into as well. Oh man. And also Cam Newton has another one, fourth and one. You can check that out too. 4th and 1 with Cam Newton podcast as well. Of course, you can also check out Nightcap. Check out Nightcap. You can check out Outside Sports Baseball podcast. You can also check out Giants Nation Show podcast. You can also check out Locked on Bets, All the Smoke, Mina Kime Show. You got the Pivot podcast, Games with Names with Julian Elderman podcast, Giants Huddle. You got Blue Rush, a New York Giants football podcast, Fireside Giants Empire Sports podcast. You got Full Sport Press podcast. You got Locked on Women's Basketball podcast, Locked on NBA Draft with No Ceilings podcast. You got Good Follow, Giants Collective, Locked on Yankees, Games on Game. Yeah, I did mention that. I didn't mention that. No, I didn't mention that. No, I didn't mention that though. Yeah, Games on Games, Pitcher List Fantasy Baseball podcast, NFL Daily, the Deep 3 podcast, Locked on UConn podcast. You got Pinstripe Chronicles podcast. You got the Wind Up with Mark and James. And you can also listen to them on the Met Stuff podcast as well. You got the Manny Cast. You got you got 10 Takes with Kyle Brandt. He's also from the Good Morning Football Overtime show. You can also listen to that podcast as well. You got Above the Rim with DH12 podcast. You have Meet the Mets Fans podcast with Stefan, Justin, and Sid. You can also listen to them on streaming platforms and subscribe to their YouTube channel, man. You know what I'm saying? You have let me see what else. You have the Queens Baseball Live podcast. I'm sorry I missed out on episode 17. I was listening and watching Knicks Latest. Knicks Latest is another suggestion. You can also listen to that as well. You have the Table Setters, a baseball podcast. You got 11.7 college baseball podcast. Be sure to listen to No Fouls Given, Hooping and Hollering, the Metropolitan Report podcast, Barry Grant's All Even podcast, Queens Get the Money, Mets podcast, Hooping and Hollering. I just mentioned that. Game Over with Max Kellerman and Rich and Ringer NBA, the Blunt Talk Sports podcast, Three Guys, Six Balls NFL podcast. You have the Heart of the City podcast, which I also listen to. The Shift, the Fire Sports podcast, Nets Fans podcast, the Relay. Be sure to subscribe to that YouTube channel as well. I haven't watched that in a minute. I've been going through some stuff, so please forgive me. I'm just starting to get back. So let's see. What else can I recommend for you folks out there? What else I could recommend for you? Let's see. What else can I recommend for you? I'm trying to see if I missed anything. Let me see if I missed anything. Let me see. Oh yeah. Mostly Mets. Be sure to listen to that. Couple Mets. You got Unapologetically Angel. You got let me see. Yes, Till Mets Do His Part alongside with Ibby. And like I said, John Saponaro took over Mets Daily. You have the Subway to Shade podcast with Anthony Rivera. You also have Mets Central, Shea Station, Mets Dub podcast, Subway Sports Talk podcast. Mets We Gotta Believe podcast. NFL Live, Empire State of Baseball podcast, Filthy Sports, Foul Territory, Dead End Sports, Locked On Sports Today podcast 24/7, stories in the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and NCAA. Mayday with Trevor May, Why Am I a Mets Fan podcast with Samantha and Ashley. Ashley, congratulations to the women on Why Am I a Mets Fan podcast on their 2-year anniversary. All right. Locked On New York Giants, NFL Good Morning Football podcast, I'm Right podcast, Talking Baseball, MLB. Let's see. You got the Rico Bronya podcast with Evan Roberts. You can catch them on WFA. You can catch him on WFAN on YouTube. National League Town of Mets podcast, Hoops for the Hotties, Baseball America, the Mets Pod, and like I said, Mets Daily is taken over by John Saponaro. Let's see what else. What else did I forget? Let me see if I've forgotten anything. Yes. So the 3 Inning Fan Show podcast with Kelly Franco. You have Locked On Mets podcast alongside with Ryan Finkelstein. Of course, you can also listen to the postcast with Chris Schubert. And you can also listen to let me see. You can also check out Who's Right Mets podcast. You can also check out CP's True Mets Talk podcast, of course, where he does the breakdowns of previews of each games and the post games, and all that great stuff right there. You can also check out let me see what else. Locked On NBA East Squad podcast, the Deferred Collusion podcast. You can also check out the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast, Locked On Nets. Like I said, Hoops for Hotties with Mariah. I forget her last name. I did forget that, but please forgive me. Born to the Game podcast. You got Locked On NBA. You got Locked On NBA Game Night podcast as well. You also have Locked On MLB, Locked On MLB Game Night, Locked On Fantasy Football. What else, man? What else? What else am I forgetting? Oh yeah, check out Knicks Film School. Check out the Locked On Knicks, the Locked On Knicks Squad Show. You can also check out the postcast over there as well. And let me see what else. Let me see. Nothing Personal with David Sampson. You got Early Game. Let me see what else. Locked Up Sports, New York Sports Talk podcast. Locked On New York Giants podcast. It Is What It Is podcast. Let me see. You also have the Empire State Sports Report podcast with and the Giants' latest podcast with Adriana, who's also a New York Giants fan. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like I said, Locked On MLB Game Night podcast is included. Locked On Syracuse podcast, Talking Giants. You have Full Circle podcast. You have Locked On NBA Game Night podcast, Mesmerize Online podcast. You have the Sports Cars CEO Official Collectibles podcast. You can check that out as well. Beyond the Jersey, and let me see if I missed anything whatsoever. If I did, I do apologize. I will add more sports recommendations for you folks to listen to and watch. So yeah, so there you go right there. Yeah, so there you go right there. I'm gonna actually wrap this up right now. Because I have to add some more topics for the next episode, and I have to actually check out the BT Awards with Bluesky. I hope y'all checking that out as well. So we're gonna wrap this up right here. Actually, let me just look for that segment. All right. Let me just look for this right here. So let me just yeah. So time for stream choices on the go. Let's do this. All right. This is a segment where I actually let you know where you can follow the podcast and everything else. And like I was saying earlier, I won't be able to actually set up the episodes on streaming platforms due to a technical difficulty with my previous laptop. With the internet connection interference, and And of course, the Spectrum username that I typed in was out of range. So I may have to wait until I actually get me a new laptop. Hopefully, when I get me a new job, I'll be able to get me a new laptop as well. That's the first thing I'm going to save up for. And listen, man, you can follow the podcast on Facebook alongside. You can follow the podcast, especially on Facebook. Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, alongside with Threads and Instagram. The same goes for my other podcast shows. That's going to be on the same social media platforms, which is Facebook, Threads, and of course Bluesky Social. Blue Sky Social, and alongside with Instagram as well. That's for Meticulous Vajus podcast. I'm going to be returning to record that episode. I should be returning possibly this upcoming week, especially the week of the 4th of July. And my comedy Off the Meat Rack Chains New York Avenue podcast will probably return after the week of the 4th of July. All right. In case anybody's wondering, it's going to return as well. So there you go, right there. And for now, the new episodes are not going to be on streaming platforms at the moment. But for now, you can actually subscribe to the sports YouTube channel page, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Leave a like and a comment alongside with what you thought of the topics in today's episode and everything else. Anything else I didn't get a chance to cover, I will cover it in the next episode as well. So yeah. Another recommendation I want to actually recommend. Shouts to Max Goodman, who was featured in Baseball Night in New York. He also has his own platform on YouTube. Speaking of the Mets podcast, of course, make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel page, because he usually goes on live after each post game whatsoever. And I think the next time he's going to be doing a live show for Speaking of the Mets podcast will be the time that the Mets play the Atlanta Braves. All right. And I believe one of the games is going to be on Friday is going to be on Pix 11. I would have to take a look at the rest of the I would have to take a look at the rundown on the sports schedule of the Mets, who they play next and after. So I will have to take care of that next time, actually, because I'm gonna actually set up my topics for the next episode and upcoming episodes whatsoever. I am back whatsoever. So yeah, listen, that's gonna do it for me, man. And like I said before, man, there won't be any new episodes of the podcast on streaming platforms due to a technical difficulty with my previous laptop. I have to upgrade my laptop to a Windows 11. All right, so it's gonna be a while, but once I get the new laptop, I would gladly make up for the episodes that I didn't get a chance to upload to streaming platforms. All right, so subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to my other YouTube channels. Meticulous Vajus podcast, G Money Stacks 555 of Off the Meat Rack Chains New York Avenue podcast whatsoever. I will be returning to that particular podcast sometime next week. Because of the games that's going on and everything else. So I'm actually trying to take it. I'm trying to take it one day at a time, as far as like, the the pacing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So yeah, so yeah, so like yeah, so that's gonna do it, man. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. Don't let anyone tell you there's no money into what you're creating. You're creating a platform. If you're creating a platform, whether it's a music platform, whether it's a podcast platform on YouTube, all that stuff, all these things take time, man, to build. If everything was about money, you wouldn't be able to have fun and have a good time, have a blast. You feel what I'm saying? And look, whatever things you've been told over the years, as far as like anything, as far as like fancy degrees to get you a good job or whatever, that's not necessarily true. You know how many times people say, you know how many times people would say that that if you get a degree, you get a good job. That's not really true, because a lot of times people with degrees, sometimes they tend to not know what they're doing. To not know what they're doing. I was actually talking with somebody earlier about that as well. Like, sometimes the things that you were told over the years, you have to unlearn. You have to unlearn, no matter which parent taught you things. I know obviously the right or wrong stuff, but the other things, unlearn them, unlearn them shits. All right, you gotta do what makes you happy. You gotta do what makes you happy. You gotta do what works for you. And it's and and it's easy to say that being a people pleaser is very stressful. You're not going to make everybody happy. It's impossible to make everybody happy. Even your parents, even the whole idea that you feel like you're not enough. The whole idea that you're not doing enough, or whatever case scenario may be. Listen, you got to do what works for you, not for the people. You got to care about yourself first before you care about other people. Of course, there's going to be some hateful parents and stuff, but you got to do you. All right? Like I said, make sure you subscribe to Max Goodman's Speaking of the Mets podcast, and any other podcast I didn't get a chance to recommend and add to the list. I will gladly add it when I get off of here. All right. I'm up out of here. Peace and one love. I hope y'all enjoyed the parade of the New York Knicks. Let's go. Let's go, New York Knicks. The champs are here. Champs is here. The champs are here. Let's go, New York Mets. I'll be back next time. Have a good night, everybody.